Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. His guest Premanjan Prabhu will join in next 10 to 12 minutes. Prabhuji is facing some internet issue. He is not in Delhi. So Prabhuji has said us to start reading introduction. So can I request Binita Maji to please start reading? Devotees can please switch on their videos so I may be able to know who is present here. So I will call the name accordingly.
Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, actually, I'm outside, so I don't have book.
Okay, wait, then I'll share the screen. Okay, can anyone start reading after you, Divlila Keshvi Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
हाँ,
Hare Krishna, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
ठीक है. नमो विष्णुदाय कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति विधान स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चाते देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे.
Can I start, Mataji?
Please.
Introduction. Invoking auspiciousness, Lord Shri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the reservoir of all rasas or relationship, which are called neutrality, passive adoration, servitorship, friendship, parenthood, conjugal love, comedy, compassion, fear, chivalry, ghastliness, wonder, and devastation. He is the supreme attractive form, and by his universal and transcendental attractive features, he has captivated all the gopis, headed by Taraka, Palika, Shyama, Lalita, and ultimately Srimati Radharani. Let his lordship's grace be on us so that there may not be any hindrance in the execution of this duty of writing the nectar of devotion impelled by his divine grace Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Let me offer my respectful obeisances onto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada and of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, by whose inspiration I have been engaged in the matter of compiling the summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This is the sublime science of devotional service as propounded by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared 500 years ago in West Bengal, India, to propagate the movement of Krishna consciousness. Srila Rupa Goswami begins his great book by offering his respectful obeisances onto Sri Sanatana Goswami, who is his elder brother and spiritual master, and he prays that Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu may be very pleasing to him. He further prays that by residing in that ocean of nectar, Sri Sanatana Goswami may always feel transcendental pleasure in the service of Radha and Krishna. Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the great devotees and acharyas, holy teachers, who are compared to sharks in the great ocean of nectar and who do not care for the various rivers of liberation. Impersonalists are very fond of merging into the supreme like rivers that come down and merge into the ocean. The ocean can be compared to liberation and the rivers to all the different paths of liberation. The impersonalists are dwelling in the river water, which eventually comes to mix with the ocean. They have no information, however, that within the ocean, as within the river, there are innumerable aquatic living entities. The sharks who dwell in the ocean do not care for the rivers which are gliding down into it. The devotees eternally live in the ocean of devotional service, and they do not care for the rivers. In other words, those who are pure devotees always remain in the ocean of transcendental loving service to the Lord and have no business with the other processes, which are compared to the rivers that only gradually comes to the ocean. Srila Rupa Goswami prays to his spiritual master, Srila Sanatana Goswami, for the protection of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the ocean of the pure nectar of devotional service, from the argumentative logicians who unnecessarily meddle in the science of service to the Lord. He compares their arguments and logic to volcanic eruptions in the midst of the ocean. In the midst of the ocean, volcanic eruptions can do very little harm. And similarly, those who are against devotional service to the Lord and who put forward many philosophical theses about the ultimate transcendental realization cannot disturb this great ocean of devotional service.
Thank you, Mataji. Vinita Mataji, will you be able to read now? Vinita Pradhan Mataji, will you be able to read now? Are you
Yes,
able to
Mataji.
see my screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, please.
Srila Rupa Goswami,
The author of Bhakti
author of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami, very humbly submits that he is just trying to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, although he humbly thinks himself unfit for this work. That should be the attitude of all preachers of Krishna consciousness movement. Following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami, we should never think of ourselves as a great preachers, but should always consider that we are simply instrumental to the previous acharyas, and simply by following in their footsteps, we may be able to do something for the benefit of suffering humanity. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu is divided into four parts, just as the ocean is sometimes divided into four parts, and there are different sections within each of these four divisions. Originally in Bhakta Rasamrit Sindhu, the ocean is divided like the watery ocean into east, south, west, and north, while the subsection within these different divisions are called waves. As in the ocean, there are always different waves either on the eastern side, the southern side, the western side, or the northern side. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu similarly has different waves. In the first part, there are four waves. The first being a general description of devotional service. The second concerns the regulative principles for executing devotional service. And the third wave, devotional service, is ecstasy. Ecstasy. In the fourth, is unlimited goal, love of Krishna, love of God. This will be explicitly described along with the different symptoms. The authorized description of bhakti or devotional service, following in the footsteps of previous acharyas, can be summarized in the following statement by Srila Rupa Goswami. First class devotional service is known by one's tendency to be fully engaged in Krishna consciousness, serving the Lord favorably. The purport is that one may also be in Krishna consciousness unfavorably, but that cannot be counted as pure devotional service. Pure devotional service would be free from the desire for any material benefit or for sense gratifications, as this desire are cultivated through fruitive activities and philosophical speculation. Generally, people are engaged in different activities to gain some material profit, while most philosophers are engaged in proposing transcendental realization through volumes of word jugglery, and speculation. Pure devotional service must always be free from such fruitive activities and philosophical speculations. One has to learn Krishna consciousness or pure devotional service from the authorities by the spontaneous loving service.
Thank you,
This
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Madhav Prabhuji. Govind Madhav Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji. Okay. This devotional service is a sort of cultivation. It is not simply inaction for people who like to be inactive or devote their time to silent meditation. There are many different methods for people who want this, but cultivation of Krishna consciousness is different. The word used by Srila Rupa Goswami in this connection is Anushilan, or cultivation, by following the predecessor teachers, acharya.
Govind Madhav Prabhuji, you are muted. Govind Madhav Prabhuji. Roji, your video is also off. I'm not able to see that. Are you reading or what?
Some problem in ashram network, no? So maybe he was muted now.
Okay. Harshita Machi, will you be able to read?
For instance, a diseased person has to be cautious and take medicine in order to avoid some unfavorable illness.
Harshita Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Master. Can you please highlight? Those who are cultivating spiritual life and executing devotional service are always engaged in activity. Such activity can be performed with the body or with the mind. Thinking, feeling, and willing are all activities of the mind, and when we will to do something, the activity comes to be manifest by the gross bodily senses. Thus, in our mental activities, we should always try to think of Krishna and try to plan how to please him, following in the footsteps of the great acharyas and the personal spiritual master. There are activities of the body, activities of the mind, and activities of speech. A Krishna conscious person engages his minds in preaching the glories of the Lord. This is called Kirtan, and by his mind, a Krishna conscious person always thinks of the activities of the Lord as he is speaking on the battlefield of Kurukshetra or engaging in his various pastimes in Vrindavan with his devotees. In this way, one can always think of the activities and pastimes of the Lord. This is the mental culture of Krishna consciousness. Similarly, we can offer many services with our bodily activities, but all such activities must be in relationship with Krishna. This relationship is established by connecting oneself with the bona fide spiritual master, who is the direct representative of Krishna in disciplic succession. Therefore, the execution of Krishna conscious activities with the body should be directed by the spiritual master and then performed with faith. The connection with the spiritual master is called initiation. From the date of initiation by the spiritual master, the connection between Krishna and a person cultivating Krishna consciousness is established. Without initiation by a bona fide spiritual master, the actual connection with Krishna consciousness is never performed.
Thank you,
This
Mataji.
cultivation.
Jadwit Prabhuji. Jadwit Prabhuji. Jadwit Prabhuji. Jadwit Prabhuji, are you here? Jonica Mataji. Jonica Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Maji, similarly से read करना ना.
This cultivation.
Okay, Maji. This cultivation of Krishna consciousness is not material. The Lord has three general energies, namely the eternal energy, the internal energy, and the marginal energy. The living entities are called marginal energy, and the material cosmic manifestation is the action of external or material energy. Then there is the spiritual world, which is a manifestation of the internal energy. The living entities, who are called marginal energy, perform material activities when acting under the inferior external energy. And when they engage in activities under the internal spiritual energy, their activities are called Krishna conscious. This means that those who are great souls or great devotees do not act under the spell of material energy, but act instead under the protection of the spiritual energy. Any activities done in devotional service or in Krishna consciousness are directly under the control of spiritual energy. In other words, energy is a sort of strength, and this strength can be spiritualized by the mercy of both the bona fide spiritual master and Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
In the
Kanchan Gurangi Mataji.
In the Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Lord Chaitanya states that it is a fortunate person who comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. One who is serious about spiritual life is given by Krishna the intelligence to come in contact with a bona fide spiritual master. And then by the grace of the spiritual master, one becomes advanced in Krishna consciousness. In this way, the whole jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness is directly under the spiritual energy, Krishna and the spiritual master. This has nothing to do with the material world. When we speak of Krishna, we refer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his many expansions. He is expanded by his plenary parts and parcels, his differentiated parts and parcels, and his different energies. Krishna, in other words, means everything and includes everything. Generally, however, we should understand Krishna to mean Krishna and his personal expansions. Krishna expands himself as Baladev, Sankarshana, Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Rama, Nrisimha, and Varaha, as well as many other incarnations and innumerable Vishnu expansions. These are described in the Srimad Bhagavatam to be as numerous as the uncountable waves. So Krishna includes all such expansions as well as his pure devotees. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that Krishna's expansions are all complete in eternity, blissfulness, and cognizance.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept our humble obeisances.
Okay. Thank you very much for waiting. Somehow there has been rainfall here in Mayapur and there has been no light. So some last moment internet issue came. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare नाना शास्त्र विचारणय करे पुनो सद्धर्म संस्थापको लोकानां हितकारिणो त्रिभुवने मान्यो शरण्याकरो राधा कृष्ण पदारविन्द भजनानन्देन मत्तालिको वन्दे रूप सनातनो रघुयुगो श्रीजीव गोपालको. Some quick reflections from yesterday's discussion. We'll take any 5 points. So you can unmute yourself, share any point that you can recall from yesterday's discussion. What did we discuss yesterday? Any reflections? Yes, please, Harshita Mataji.
Prabhuji, you started off with telling us that Srila Prabhupada has said that Nectar of Devotion is a law book, and it sets the basic standards. Whenever we have some confusions, the law book that we go to, then you expounded on the title Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. You explained there are 2 types of rasas.
Okay. Yes. What are other points? Yes, Rukmini Mataji and then Kanchanvan Mataji.
Prabhuji, I am very excited to go for the sessions that we read yesterday, that we will come to know how rasa is mellow. This we are gonna read and study in the coming sessions.
Okay. Yes, Kanchanvan Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, we read the difference between mundane rasa and spiritual rasa. How mundane rasa is chapal, is flickering, and it has like 2 things: bhoga, tyaga, renunciation, and enjoyment. And then we read that how spiritual rasa is completely opposite to it. It is eternal, therefore it is known as Amrita. It is deathless.
It is eternal as well as nectarian in nature. It tastes very sweet. Yeah. Other points? I'll take two more devotees. Yes, Vrindavan Vasi Prabhu.
Prabhuji, as explained by you yesterday, like Srila Rupa Goswamiji understood the mood, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and then he established this mission and to propagate those teachings and what he desires, so that can be fulfilled.
Okay, thank you. Shri Chaitanya Manovishyam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale. We discussed the pastime related to this. Okay. One more point. Can take one more devotee. Was not spoken so far. Please share any of the points. Yes, Dayan with Bhakti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. As yesterday when we were reading, so Srila Prabhupada mentioned two examples or two analogy of first one is pouring water on the roots of a tree, or eating food or supplying food to our stomach, which nourishes whole organs. Same way the nectar of devotion teaches all men how to perform simple and the natural method of loving Krishna.
Okay, thank you. So yes, we did the preface of Nectar of Devotion yesterday, how this is a summary study, and Srila Prabhupada mentions in preface, he gave the history, a brief history on the life of Srila Rupa Goswami, how he was instructed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the Shashwamedh Ghat for 10 days, and he's expanding on those instructions in this book. We also read about the meaning of the title, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, and then how about the mundane ras and bhakti ras, how we all are meant to love Krishna. This is the hankering that we are looking birth after birth. How by loving Krishna we can love everyone. And we also saw the Prabhupada writes at least 6 purposes of Nectar of Devotion. Right? We saw in the slide yesterday. And we also discussed the overview of the introduction. So introduction has 3 parts. What are they? First and foremost is the objective of the book, Vastu Nirdesh. Then second is the Kanchanvan Madhuri.
Mangalacharan, different parts you're asking, no, Prabhuji? The different parts of Mangalacharan. So the first was objective of the book, Vastu Nirdesh. Second was obeisances, Namaskar. And third was benediction, Ashirad.
Okay. So let us dive into the introduction. So we also saw the structure of the book, right? How this entire literature, Srila Rupa Goswami divides into 4 sections. Purvi Vibhag, Dakshin Vibhag, Paschtimi Vibhag, and Uttari Vibhag. Just hold on, the light has gone again here. Are you able to hear my voice at least?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so at least the end there. Let's see for how long. Not sure. So the different components, the structure of the book, Eastern Division. What are the topics? So there are 4 vibhags: East, South, West, and North, and each vibhag has a different leher. So we will be covering Purvi Vibhag in our Bhakti Śāstrī course. And what are the different leher in this vibhag? What is the first leher? Open your Bhakti śāstrī.
Samanya Bhakti.
Amanya Bhakti.
Yeah, Samanya Bhakti. What's the second layer?
Sadhana Bhakti.
Sadhana.
Sadhana Bhakti, Bhav Bhakti, and Prema Bhakti.
Prema Bhakti.
So the first layer is covered in introduction and chapter 1. And we have read till what point? Okay, the first paragraph of the introduction corresponds to the first verse of Nectar of Devotion. So all of you know the first verse. At least if we don't know the verses of the entire literature, we can at least remember the first verse. It contains the sum and substance and essence of the whole literature. How in Ramayana, the first verse, anyone remembers what is the first verse or the meaning of the first verse of Ramayana? Where Valmiki Muni is cursing that hunter with short arrows which killed 2 cranes who were engaged in loving union with each other. You don't know that pastime? How Ramayana came into picture? Okay, but at least you know that he gave the curse, but it came in the form of a very beautiful meter. And then he was repenting that what have I done? He cursed the hunter that may you never achieve peace in life. And then he was repenting, I'm supposed to be forgiving, and what have I done? And then Brahma comes and he says, this is by the will of the Lord, and you'll be glorifying Lord God. Similarly, in the first verse of Bhagavad Gita, Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra Samaveta Yudsava, or the first verse of Bhagavatam, Janmadhyasya Yatanvyaditarataschaर्थesha Bhigdasam, or the first verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vande Guru Nisha Bhakta Isha Misha Avtaraka. Similarly, at least if you know the first verse of any literature, it establishes the purpose and the mood and the objective of, you know, it gives a lot of information about the whole literature. So the first paragraph of Nectar of, first verse of Nectar of Devotion of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Prabhupada is summarizing this in the first paragraph of introduction. So what is that first verse? Akhila Rasamrit Murti Prasaramar Ruchi Rudh Tara Kapali Kalita Shama Lalito Radha Prayan Vidhur Jayati. So this is also quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 8.142. Okay. So this is the first verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Akhila Rasamrit Murti, Prasanna Ruchi Rudha Tara Kapali, Kalita Sham Alalito, Radha Prayan Vidhura Jayati. What is the meaning of this verse? Akhila Rasamrit Murti. So see, one thing you need to understand, this is a rasa scriptures, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, okay? Whenever we are describing rasa, it is not described directly. You know, when you read poetry, there's always a, you know, indirect mention of a lot of things. So there can be various ways of saying things. For example, if I say, Rishabh Mitra Prabhu, can you take the broom? Please take the broom and clean the room. Okay. So that is one way that I'm instructing. The other way can be, dear Rishabh Mitra Prabhu, can you please clean the room, take the broom, and that is the second way is as a friend is telling to some other friend. Okay, that's another. And the third way is, let us say if you are married, Rishabh Mitra Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so let us say if Mataji has to say, how they express, oh, I have so much work, no one helps me, you know, and you know, then you naturally become curious. Okay, what do you want? What is the use even after telling? I have to tell and so on. It's that you have to understand. Okay, what is she wanting, and then you have to. Okay, she's needing support, and you need to clean the room. That's what the intention is. Okay, so the kavya or the poetry, the rasa is experienced when it is expressed in this way. Okay, so there are these are the three formats in which usually the literatures is written. If you see the Vedas, they are in the like first as a master is instructing to his disciple. So the disciple is sitting near the master and master is giving the concrete instructions. So that is the overall tone of the Vedas. The other format is just like a friend says to another friend, the different, just like Mahabharata and all those literatures are written as if one friend is narrating to other friend. So that is a tone. But when there is a rasa shāstrā, it is expressed. It is something is pointed, but it means something deeper. If you show this verse to any Sanskrit scholar outside, if you don't show the translation and so, this entire verse refers to a moon. Okay, Akhila Rasamrit Murti. So Rasamrit, all the rasa that are experienced, rasa means taste, that comes from the moonlight. Prasamra Ruchi Rudha Taraka Palihi. Kalita Shama Lalito. The Shama means the darkness, and that just like in a darkness, the moon appears in the sky and it provides rasa to all the fruits and the vegetables. And Radha Prayan. So just like there are different names of nakshatra, one is Rohini nakshatra. So one other name of Rohini nakshatra is Radha nakshatra. Vidhur Jayati, so it is glorified in a group of various glorious constellations. So like that, if you see, this entire verse is ultimately pointed, literally it is describing a moon. But the same verse is describing actually Krishna, that Akhila Rasamrit Murti. Who is that Rasamrit Murti, the reservoir of all pleasure? We have a book by Srila Prabhupada, Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure. So, Akhila Rasamrit Murti. So, who is Akhila Rasamrit Murti? It is not Vishnu, it is not Narayan, it is actually Krishna. And Krishna also, there are various forms of Krishna in Dwarka, Krishna in Mathura. So, but Akhila Rasamrit Murti specifically refers to Krishna in Vrindavan. And Srila Prabhupada explains an introduction, just like what is the difference between Narayan and Krishna. So when Krishna has to do the creation, he takes role as Narayan and Vishnu. So Krishna, when someone is in office, he's in that official role and he's displaying his majestic opulence and so on. But the same person when he's at home, and that's when all the intimate exchanges takes place. So that is Krishna, and specifically Krishna in Vrindavan. So what's the next line says? Prasamara Ruchi Rudha Taraka Palihi. So his Prasamara, that means it's spreading forth. What is he spreading forth? His bodily luster, chi. And through his such attractive form, what is he doing? Rudha Taraka Palihi. So Srila Jiva Goswami explains, actually Srila Rupa Goswami himself, he's making 5 categories of gopis. 5 categories of groups of gopis. So one is the 2 groups are Taraka, which are led by Taraka and Pali. So these categories are based upon the intensity of attraction they have towards Krishna. Okay. The intensity of their affection for Krishna, that is the criteria. So Taraka and Pali, Krishna is subjugating them. How? By Prasamara Ruchi, by his beautiful form. He is subjugating these two groups of devotees. And then Shama and Lalita, he is absorbing them by bringing them in his innermost circle. But Krishna himself is subjugated by the love of Srimati Radharani. So, this verse describes the goal of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. What is the goal? Krishna, who is the reservoir of all rasa, and Krishna, who is the attractor of gopis, and specifically the lover of Srimati Radharani. So Krishna, who is the lover of Srimati Radharani and the reservoir of all rasa, is the object and goal of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So that's the first paragraph of Nectar of Devotion corresponds to this verse. So that is why we'll see Srila Prabhupada is writing, the reservoir of all rasa is called. And what all rasas are there? So these are the sum total of all rasa. He is the reservoir, Krishna, Akhila Rasamrita. And the second line refers to the further verses, further lines of the shloka. Then you'll see in the next paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is offering obeisances. So when Srila Rupa Goswami wrote this literature, he offered obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who personally taught him the science of Bhakti Rasa and instructed him, inspired him to write this literature. And similarly, Srila Prabhupada was instructed by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to write literatures. And that is why we see here that Srila Prabhupada is paying obeisances to his own spiritual master, and he's paying obeisances to Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. And when Srila Rupa Goswami wrote this literature, he's offering obeisances to Srila Sanatana Goswami, who is the elder brother and spiritual master. Many times devotees have doubt, how come Srila Rupa Goswami is paying obeisances to Sanatana Goswami? Were they not equal? Is Sanatana Goswami the spiritual master of Rupa Goswami? So, that is the etiquette. That was the nature of relationship between Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. He was the elder brother, and Rupa Goswami would see him in that light, that he's elder to me, he's dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he wrote this book for his pleasure. So that is how you will see many times, many books of the Goswamis, they were not written primarily for general public. In those days, they used to write for the pleasure of their other devotees. And Rupa Goswami here specifically is writing this book to please for the pleasure of Srila Sanatana Goswami and Lord Chaitanya. So that is how the next paragraph, they are corresponding to the next verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And then first of all, they paid obeisances to Lord Chaitanya, then to the spiritual master Sanatana Goswami, and then Srila Rupa Goswami is paying obeisances to all the acharyas in the lineage, all the great devotees. And the devotees are compared to shark in the ocean of nectar. So why devotees are compared with shark? What is so special about shark that Srila Rupa Goswami is comparing devotees with them? So because of three reasons, as Srila Prabhupada mentions here in the introduction. The first and foremost, where do shark lives? Have you ever seen shark living in any river? No, their place of residence, they are navigating, they are swimming in the middle of the ocean, in the deeper section of the ocean. So similarly, the devotees, they do not take shelter of all the different tributaries of the rivers. They reside, they are bathing, they are droning in the mellows of love of Godhead. They are staying in that Sindhu, Rasamrit Sindhu, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So that's the first reason. So devotees, they are never attracted to lesser pleasure. They are only attracted to the Bhakti Rasa. What's the second reason that Srila Prabhupada mentions here? That shark rejects the river. And what are those rivers compared to? So the impersonalists who are dwelling in the river water, which eventually mix with the ocean. So this says the river goes and meet the ocean, and therefore they become one. But Srila Prabhupada writes, no, they have no information that even within the ocean, it is not one. There is so much variety of life. There is so much variety of aquatic living entities. So the shark who dwell in the ocean, they do not care for the rivers which are gliding down into it. So they reject any other process of devotional service other than bhakti. Just like the shark rejects river, similarly devotees reject any other process apart from bhakti. And what is the third reason? As Srila Prabhupada states, that sharks are never caught by a fisherman's net. It's not that some fisherman goes, he puts a net and he catches some shark in it. No, it never happens. So similarly, because devotees swim deep in the ocean of devotional service, they are also not caught in fisherman's net. What is that fisherman's net? The samsara chakra, the cycle of birth and death. Okay. So that was the like fourth verse of Nectar of Devotion that Srila Prabhupada mentions here in the introduction. And then finally, Srila Rupa Goswami is blessing all the devotees in the fifth verse, or which corresponds to the fifth paragraph here. What is the blessing? He is invoking a benediction for the protection of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu from argumentative logicians. So these dry argumentative logicians, they unnecessarily meddle into the science of service to the Lord. And he compares their argument and logic to volcanic eruptions in the midst of ocean. So if one is residing or diving deep in the ocean of Bhakti Rasa, or this Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, they will be protected from all the dry arguments and specifically those logics and arguments which hampers devotional service to the Lord. They will not be disturbed by those arguments. They will become free from the misconception of impersonalism. Okay. And then here, finally, in the sixth verse, Srila Rupa Goswami is very humbly submitting that he's just trying to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, although he humbly thinks himself unfit for this world. And Srila Prabhupada writes, that should be the attitude of all preachers of the Krishna consciousness movement, following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. We should never think of ourselves as great preachers, but should always consider that we are simply instrumental to the previous acharyas, and simply by following in their footsteps, we may be able to do something for the benefit of suffering humanity. So this attitude is so much required in our preaching today. This is the right frame of mind of anyone who is trying to share this spiritual science with others. One must not think himself that I am such a great scholar, I'm such a great preacher, I have so many followers, I have 1 million, 10 million subscribers on my YouTube channel. I have so many people who are running after me for my autograph, for my selfie. When I give class, hundreds and thousands of people are watching. They're coming in the class online. So look how great I am. This is never the mood of Prabhupada writes it clearly. The right mood is that I am simply an instrument at the hands of previous acharyas, and let me follow in their footsteps to do something for the benefit of suffering humanity. So the person he doesn't accept credit. The only credit he accepts that he's trying to present as it is, or is trying to follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas. Okay, we'll stop here. Any questions or any comments so far what we have discussed? How can we inculcate or develop that attitude in our own lives?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Going to this last point of the attitude of a preacher. Prabhuji, this is the siddhant which we see. Now, how we actually accept this in our life? Because when we preach, when we run a program, count of people is increasing, or we see the success. So how we can't just artificially think, okay, how can I artificially think of myself as unfit when a lot of people are coming to the lecture and I'm getting some success, a lot of books are being distributed. So how to see oneself as unfit?
So, very wonderful question, Rishabh Prabhu. A few of my thoughts are, you will see any endeavor is not done alone. If I am actually in my knowledge, and if I am actually trying to inculcate this attitude, I'll be able to see there are so many people who helped me. Let us say if I even took organize one program where many people came and I was the speaker, there were many people who came, they sat and they were very inspired after the class, let us say, and everyone is coming and appreciating you. But you see, did I make the arrangements of the pandal? Did I send out the invitations? And are they coming to hear me, or are they attracted to Krishna? And did I cook for them? Did I serve prasad for them? When they came to the temple, did I dress the deities? Am I serving the deities? So there you'll see hundreds of devotees are working together to give them that experience. The pujaris are working, the cooks are working, someone who's making arrangements for the lecture, someone who's handling the mic system, and someone who is having the shoe stall, someone is serving prasad, someone is cooking, someone who made garland. If I see, each and everyone had a role to play. If we remove that, then that experience would be less. And I did my part. Whatever service was given to me, I tried to do that. But when I see the contributions of all other devotees, then I'm a team player. It's not about me, it's about the team. That's one. Second, whatever I'm speaking, how did I receive that knowledge? Did I create that knowledge? There are so many devotees who contributed in my own spiritual life. If Prabhupada would not have written these books, if the devotees would not have worked hard to publish these books, if someone who has not given money to publish this book, or if some devotee who came to me, I was completely unaware of Krishna consciousness, someone who came and connected me to this process. So there is contribution of so many devotees in my life, due to which I am able to speak something. So do those devotees not deserve that credit? So that's second, when I reflect upon that. Third, are they coming and they are becoming attracted to me, or are they coming and becoming attracted to Krishna? If they are becoming attracted to me instead of Krishna, and if they are just simply fascinated by, okay, what kind of jokes I recite, how much people laugh in the class, and how much they have a good time, or their attraction towards Krishna is increasing. If it is not about me, if after my class their attraction to Krishna is increasing, then that is when I did the right service. But if my thoughts are always consumed by how much they are liking me or disliking me, then Krishna is no more in the picture. I'm always thinking about myself. So then I'm not a transparent via media. No? Internally, I'm thinking all of them to glorify me. And I'm using Krishna simply as a tool to get my glorification. And it has to be the other way around. I am supposed to be a tool so that people can glorify Krishna. So if I'm thinking it is about me, then the whole point is lost. It was never about you. It was about Krishna. So that's the third point, I think. And fourth, if we don't have this proper attitude, what will happen when someone will give feedback to us, when someone will come and challenge, Prabhu, you did not speak this rightly, or perhaps this point is wrong. And perhaps someone will come and say, I don't like his classes. He's such a boring person. And when you'll see sitting in the class and half of the class snoring, and you'll see you're not able to connect and reach out. So then you will become discouraged. Why? Because I lost the focus, because I always think it's it was about me. And we will start taking it too personally, and we'll start becoming defensive when there is a feedback that was given to us, because it was about establishing my glory. And if some feedback hampers that, then he's my enemy. Right? And there can be other infections as well. Yeah. But yes, having that proper attitude is being grounded, is to be clear about my own position. And that is why the first and foremost is Sambandha Gyan. Who am I? Naham Vipro, Nacha Narpati, Na Pivashyo, Na Shudro, Naham Varni, Nacha Grihapate, Na Vanasto Yatirva, Kintu Prodya Nikhala Parama, Nanda Purnamritabdhe, Gopi Bhartu Padkamalayo, Dasa Dasa Nudasaha. So Gopi Bhartu Padkamalayo, Dasa Dasa Nudasa. I am servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis. So Vaishnava culture means these four words. You first, I last. Material consciousness means I first, you last. So to the degree I remember this, you first, I last. You are the first, I am your servant. How can I serve? And you'll see, when we are situated in that consciousness, we'll be totally blissful. Who can be situated in that consciousness? One who is so absolutely sure and confident about, you are so internally secured, you are so satisfied in your relationship with Krishna that you don't want any other thing of this world. And that genuine satisfaction comes by pure practice of Krishna consciousness, not the other way around.
Thank you very much, Guruji.
Yeah. Okay.
Very effective points. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question or comments?
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, So, Prabhu, what we have, that only can give to others. What we carry in our heart, that only we can give to others. But we are sometimes we are not in pure devotional service. We are in ignorance and we may be in passion also. But when we are doing the preaching activity, we should have that attitude to preach that we should glorify our Krishna and our Acharyas, not in the mood of only serving of Krishna, but that mood we have to generate. It doesn't comes automatically, Prabhu. That's
Very interesting question and very interesting point, Malleshwar Prabhu. So let us say I don't have that proper attitude and I want glory for myself. I want to achieve and I want to do my best, but at the same time, I want the world to know who am I. And I want that kind of acknowledgement or praise. What to do? Should I serve? Should I not serve? How will I get purified and will come at that stage? So the best process is Krishna consciousness. It is not that I have to go somewhere else. I have to get some sort of purification and then I'll come and serve Krishna. It never works that way. Sometimes people think to chant Nam on the level of Nama Bhas or Shuddha Nam, Prabhu, my heart is not clean. How can I chant Nama Bhas or how can I chant Shuddha Nam? As if they have to follow some other process to become purified before chanting Nama Bhas or Shuddha Nam. Never happens that way. By chanting, chanting is the best process of purification. I mean, the bhakti is Krishna consciousness itself is the best process of purification. It is not that I have to adopt some other process in order to be purified, to be able to execute at the higher stages of Krishna consciousness. No. By executing Krishna consciousness, my heart will be purified and I can reach the higher stages of Krishna consciousness. So, if after some service, I'm thinking my ego is increasing, I'm not in proper attitude, what is the best process of purification? Krishna consciousness only. So don't give up seva to Krishna. Keep serving and the purification will happen. What comes first? The consciousness or the seva, the practical aspect of it? Sometimes people think, till the time I'll receive right consciousness, I'll not serve anything. No. Start with the seva. Give your best. If you're given a responsibility to organize a program, and there is one devotee who's always thinking, I'm in proper consciousness, I'm not consciousness. If I do this, I'll become attached. If I don't this, I'll do that. And it doesn't plan, doesn't execute, doesn't do anything. It's just rotating in this zone. Better give your best. You use all your energy, all your intellectual ability, whatever you have got, to do it nicely. And then in that process, you'll receive blessings. If you please Vaishnavas, you'll receive so much blessings. So much mercy will come. And gradually our heart will be purified. And will come to the highest stages of Krishna consciousness also. Okay, so there's no external process. By executing Krishna consciousness only, this proper attitude will come. And at the same time, therefore, there are courses like Bhakti śāstrī. There is Srila Prabhupada has written these books. The more we read them, the more we read about the lives of Acharyas and the different personalities in Srimad Bhagavatam, then we'll be inspired by those personalities. How Parikshit Maharaj was cursed by so seemingly unfairly in his life. And how even in those circumstances, he was able to tolerate, he was able to forgive, and he so graciously accepted the curse, and how he took that situation as a blessing. So when we hear about Parikshit Maharaj, when we hear about Jad Bharat, he gave up Bharat Maharaj, he gave up everything in his life. At last junction of life, he became attached, and yet how he proceeded with much more determination in his next life. So when we hear about them, when we associate with these personalities, then gradually we also gain their qualities. That mode is developed. We aspire to for these things. Okay. So let's continue. So this was till the mood of preacher. Srila Rupa Goswami is presenting himself as in such humility, and Srila Prabhupada is establishing an important principle from Srila Rupa Goswami's own life and his own mood while writing this literature. He is not writing this literature to become it the #1 bestseller in the world. He's not writing with that mood that he has to earn a lot of money by selling this book. No, what was his intention and what was his mood? He's simply doing it as a service to Lord Chaitanya. He's simply doing it as out of his own compassion for the benefit of suffering humanity. And he's thinking himself as an instrument in the hands of previous acharyas. And he's following in their footsteps. Okay, so in the next part, we already discussed, so I'm skipping this. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is divided into 4 parts. We discussed this yesterday. If you have any question related to the structure of this book, you can ask now. If you have any query related to the content of this book, what is there in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, how this book is organized or structured, if anything is not clear, you can ask the question right now. Otherwise, I'm moving ahead.
Why we study only first 19 chapters?
That is a very good question to ask, and I don't have the answer to that question. So this was my question also when I was doing my Bhakti śāstrī course, and I realized that the remaining sections are covered in Bhakti Sarvabhaum level. So I can only guess. One is because out of the time. Second, perhaps the content matter seems very elevated. I'm just don't know. I'm guessing. So I don't have a crystal clear answer to that, Prabhu. I wish we had the whole literature. It is so wonderful to read entire Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And you can always read in full in your own free time. But this is covered in further courses, śāstrī courses, the remaining part. And when you'll actually, I think it is also one another reason is it is clubbed with Chaitanya Charitamrita. When you study Chaitanya Charitamrita, since when you'll study that section of Rupa Shiksha, where Lord Chaitanya is instructing Srila Rupa Goswami, so we'll find almost same things are explained in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Chaitanya Charitamrita. So perhaps I think that's why also they are clubbed together. When you are covering Chaitanya Charitamrita, you'll parallelly simultaneously cover these as well. Okay. But again, this is just my understanding. I need to ask why it is. Yes, Harshita Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in the Eastern Division, Wave 1, that we will be studying the Eastern Division. So Wave 1 is Samanya Bhakti, and Wave 2 is Sadhana Bhakti. What is meant by Samanya Bhakti? What does it mean?
How do you define Bhakti? What is the definition of Bhakti? How do you qualify that any activity that you're doing, is it Bhakti or is it not Bhakti?
It's like an introduction.
What is Bhakti? So that is, conceptually, you first of all establish what is Bhakti before describing the different kinds of Bhakti or different stages of Bhakti. But the fundamentals of it, how do you define Bhakti? Okay.
And Prabhuji, you mentioned in the answer to Rishabh Prabhuji's question that this one, when one is internally secured with our relationship to Krishna, then we don't want any external thing. So it can only happen by pure practice of Krishna consciousness. Can you please elaborate what are the various aspects in our day-to-day life of pure practice of devotional service? Like in every aspect, how can we check or how can we try to inculcate that we are doing it in the best possible way? Like
So thank you very much. And this is a perfect transition to go to our next discussion about what is Uttama Bhakti, what is pure devotional service. Okay, we'll discuss this in detail now. So, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Rupa Goswami defines what is pure devotional service, what is Uttama Bhakti. So let us go to that part. Okay. Okay, can someone please read from the definition of a pure devotee as given by from here?
The definition of the pure devotee as given by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu can be summarized thus. His service is favorable and is always in relation to Krishna. In order to keep the purity of such Krishna-conscious activities, one must be freed from all material desires and philosophical speculation. Any desire except for the service of the Lord is called material desire, and philosophical speculation refers to the sort of speculation which ultimately arrives at a conclusion of voidism or impersonalism. This conclusion is useless for a Krishna-conscious person. Only rarely by philosophical speculation one can reach the conclusion of worshipping Vasudeva Krishna. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita itself. The ultimate end of philosophical speculation then must be Krishna, with the understanding that Krishna is everything, the cause of all causes, and that one should therefore surrender unto him. If this ultimate goal is reached, then philosophical advancement is favorable. But if the conclusion of philosophical speculation is voidism or impersonalism, that is not bhakti.
And continue reading, Prabhu.
Okay. Karma or fruitive activities are sometimes understood to be ritualistic activities. There are many persons who are very much attracted to ritualistic activities described in the Vedas. But if one becomes attracted simply to ritualistic activities without understanding Krishna, his activities are unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. Actually, Krishna consciousness can be based simply on hearing, chanting, remembering, etc. Described in Srimad Bhagavatam are 9 different processes, besides which everything done is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. Thus, one should always be guarding against fall downs. Srila Rupa Goswami has also mentioned in this definition of bhakti the word jnana karmadi. This karmadi, fruitive work, consists of activities which are unable to help one attain to pure devotional service. Many forms of so-called renunciation are also not favorable to Krishna conscious devotional service. Srila Rupa Goswami has also quoted a definition from the Narada Pancharatra as follows. One should be free from all material designations and by Krishna consciousness must be cleansed of all material contamination. He should be restored to his pure identity. in which he engages his senses in the service of the proprietor of the senses. So when our senses are engaged for the actual proprietor of the senses, that is called devotional service. In our conditional state, our senses are engaged in serving these bodily demands. When the same senses are engaged in executing the order of Krishna, our activities are called bhakti. As
Okay.
long as,
Yeah. Jayadvaita Prabhu. Okay. So, what is the definition of pure devotional service? Very famous verse, Anya Bhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadhyana Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktir Uttama. So, this verse is also quoted in Madhya Leela, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Let me see that verse. All of you have received verse book just related to nectar of devotion or no?
No, Prabhuji.
So you have not received any verse book in which all the verses of, not all the important verses of nectar of devotion are there, the Sanskrit and the translation.
I did not.
Okay. So this is a verse, and Srila Prabhupada writes that this is the most important verse in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. And Srila Jiva Goswami, he defines this verse as Paribhash Sutra. What is Paribhash Sutra verse? The thesis statement upon which the entire book is based. So, this is the thesis statement upon which the entire nectar of devotion is based, this one verse. And Paribhash Sutra also means that if there are certain things, certain verses, certain section in which the themes are not explicitly mentioned, then they are interpreted in the context of Paribhash Sutra verse. Okay. So, this is the definition of Uttama Bhakti. Shilanam Bhaktir Uttama. Uttama means the first class devotional service or pure devotional service. So, what kind of service is called as Bhaktir Uttama? So, there are two characteristics. One is called as Swarup Lakshanam, and second is called Tathastha Lakshan, primary characteristics and secondary characteristics. So what are the primary characteristics? How do you define an Uttama Bhakti? So we'll discuss one by one all the words that are given in this verse. What is the most important word in this entire verse?
Anyabhilashita Shunyam.
Okay, wherever Krishna is there, that's the most important, right? So Krishna, that is most important. What do we mean by Krishna?
Akhil Rasamrit Murti.
Yes, Akhil Rasamrit Murti.
The all attractive.
Here it means even more than that. Let us bring that up. Okay. So I think when I joined the class, you were reading this paragraph only. Okay. So when we speak of Krishna, we refer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead along with his many expansion, his differentiated part and parcels, and his different energies. Krishna, in other words, means everything and includes everything. But generally, however, we should understand Krishna to mean Krishna and his personal expansion. Baladev, Sankarshan, Vasudev, Anirudh, Pradyum, Ram, Nrsimha, Varaha. So when we say Krishna, Krishna means the Swayam Bhagavan Krishna as well as his Vishnu expansion. Okay, so there are three characteristics, three primary characteristics which makes bhakti and uttama bhakti. What are they? First and foremost is that service is for Krishna. The devotional service is for Krishna. The second characteristic is Sheelanam. It is an active engagement. Anusheelanam. And third is Anukulyena. It is favorable for Krishna. So three characteristics. One, it is that the service is for Krishna. Second, it is Anusheelanam. That means it is an active engagement. And third, that is executed with a favorable intent. Okay. So we'll discuss one by one, and then we'll come later on to secondary characteristic. So when we say Krishna, what all elements it includes? So first and foremost, Krishna means Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as well as it means, what's happening? As well as it means all the Vishnu expansions. Okay. So not just Krishna and his personal expansion. Krishna includes all such expansions as well as his pure devotees. Where all of you have your personal Nectar of Devotion book with you. Please take out the introduction section. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Can you find out that line? In my book, it's written that generally, however, we should understand Krishna to mean Krishna and his personal expansion. So Krishna includes all expansions as well as his pure devotees. Can you find that in your book?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, how far is it from the beginning?
It's on page 23. I mean, in the Roman XX.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All of you have found out?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Right.
It's on upper paragraph. Yes. The page you have just opened.
So Krishna does not mean Krishna alone. Is always with his associates and paraphernalia. Okay. Actually, it is above this here. Anyway. So the point is, Krishna means Krishna and his Vishnu expansion, as well as his devotees, pure devotees, and his paraphernalia and his transcendental abode. So that's
Prabhuji, the paragraph which is shown in the screen.
Yeah.
Only.
Sorry, yeah.
The paragraph you are showing, only it was in the beginning paragraph. Like this.
It's on
It's
on
on the
page
screen.
number 24 of the hardbound.
This
Okay.
paragraph only, Prabhuji. Yes, after this line, last line. It's
Okay.
there.
So Krishna means Swayam Bhagavan Krishna as well as his personal expansion. And here specifically it means Vishnu expansions. Then it also means Krishna's pure devotee. It also means Krishna's abode and his paraphernalia. Okay. So it is not that if someone is, although Srila Rupa Goswami first and foremost established the objective of this book is Vrindavan Krishna. Okay, we discussed that. But when he's describing that, he's giving the definition of Bhakti, Uttama Bhakti, he's giving a very broad definition. So when we say Krishna, it also means Ram. So this definition will also be applicable to all the Rama Bhaktas. Or it says, okay, Prabhu, but if I do not know Krishna, I am serving the spiritual master, a pure devotee. Yes, Krishna means a pure devotee as well. It also means Krishna's paraphernalia, Krishna's abode, Krishna's pure devotee, Krishna expansion, and the Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. That everything, all of these things comes when we say Krishna, it means yes. So that's the first characteristic. Okay.
Means Prabhu, all Vaishnavas, Prabhu? All pure Vaishnavas?
Yeah, pure Vaishnavas. So Krishna is the singular target of pure devotion. So if any of these are the target of our devotion, yes, first criteria is fulfilled. But if the target is my dog, my pet dog, no, that will not qualify as bhakti. Of the target is my nation. I belong to India and I'm proud to be Indian. And I do all the seva for India. Will it be called as bhakti? No, it doesn't. According to this definition, no. So we may have innumerable objects of affection and our devotion, but not everything will be called as bhakti. The bhakti will only be called if the target is Krishna. Krishna means all Vishnu expansions as well. That means Narayan, that means, Mahavishnu, Garbhodaksha, Shirodaksha Vishnu, all the Vishnu, Baladev, Balaram, Ram, Lakshman, everything, all Vishnu expansion. Or some pure devotee is there. Or Krishna's abode is there, or his paraphernalia is there. That's the first qualifying criteria. What's the next criteria? Anushilanam. That is the second Swarupa Lakshan. What do we mean by Anushilanam? Anushilan means cultivation. Just like if you have a seed, how do we cultivate the seed? By watering it. Okay. That seed is gradually. So that is called as cultivation. So cultivation, but here Anushilanam, our Acharyas describes. Let us go down. Okay. So here it is about cultivation. This devotional service is a sort of cultivation. That is Anushilanam. That means it is not simply inaction for people who like to be inactive or devote their time to silent meditation. So when we talk about cultivation, It denotes a practical activity. So how do we perform activity? The activity can be performed by three means. Okay. It can be performed by body, by words, and by mind. So that means devotional service is performed with mind, with body, and with speech. It is an active engagement. So now, when we speak about activities, there are two kinds of activities. One, which are favorable, or by favorable, I mean some set of do's and some set of don'ts. So pravritti and nivritti. Pravritti, do this, nivritti, don't do this. So through body, mind, and speech, act in such this way. That is pravritti. Don't utilize your body, mind, and speech in this particular way. That is nivritti. Are you with me? So second criteria is anushilanam. That means it is a cultivation. Cultivation means it is a practical activity. It is not simply some imagination. So it is an active engagement that is done by body, by mind, by speech. So there are certain set of do's and there are certain sets of don'ts. Some do's which are favorable for Krishna consciousness, some don'ts which are unfavorable. So if I do something which is favorable for Krishna consciousness, let us say I go out and I distribute book. I distribute Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Will it be called as bhakti?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, no. You are going out distributing book Bhagavad Gita to other. Is it bhakti or no?
It depends again on this criteria. Are we doing it for the Krishna or for the pleasure of the spiritual master? Who's the target? And the second is again, is the intent to please Krishna, or we are doing it for making a score and you get some name and other things?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Vrindavan Vasi Prabhu. So there is a statement which goes like this. Bhakti are a set of activities performed for pleasing Krishna. Is it true or false? No, you don't have to write it. You just answer it. True or false?
True.
Okay. So when I was doing my course here, or DT worship, so this our teacher, this is Adi Purush Prabhu, he was saying one of the biggest misconception a sadhaka can have in his or her life is this: bhakti is a set of activities performed to please Krishna. And if you understand this difference, that is also the answer to Harshita Madhuri's question. This auspicious month of Kartik is going on, okay? And we meditate upon the Damodar Lila every day. Mother Yashoda, out of her intense love, she's churning curd and butter for Krishna. Krishna wakes up. Krishna urges Mother Yashoda to feed him. Mother Yashoda is feeding Krishna and she sees the milk is boiling. And what did she do? she keeps Krishna on the ground. She runs and saves the milk. But what happened to Krishna in the process? Krishna became very angry. Was Krishna pleased or no? Then if Krishna is not pleased, how is this bhakti of Mother Yashoda? In the process, Krishna became so upset. He became angry, and he became so angry that he rolled his lips. The tears, his face became red in anger, and he decided, I'll do something more mischievous. He took a stone and he hit the pot. So how is this bhakti of Mother Yashoda? When in the process, Krishna became displeased.
Prabhuji, because the intention of Mother Yashoda was to please Krishna. So
yes. The intention of Mother Yashoda was to please Krishna. And that is why the third element is most important, anukulyena. So bhakti are the set of activities performed to please Krishna, that are meant to please Krishna. That is incomplete. The third element is the most important. They are performed with the intention to please Krishna. So just like in the Krishna book, there's a story of Pandrak who was imposing as Vasudev, and he had two arms. And he sent his messenger to the court of Krishna, who challenged him, give up the symbols of Vasudev. I am the real Vasudev. And what happened when all the ministers heard the messenger of Pandrak? They had a big laugh. Right? They were laughing like anything. So seemingly Krishna became happy. But was that a bhakti of Pandrak? Because the intent was missing. So we may be doing a lot of activities, but if they are not performed with the intention to please Krishna, they doesn't qualify to be bhakti. So in order for any activity to enter into the school of bhakti, forget about uttama abhi. Just to be on the level of bhakti, it has to have these three characteristics. First, the target has to be Krishna. Second, it has to be a practical activity. That means through mind or speech or the body. Third, it has to be performed with the intention to please Krishna. So oftentimes, or what Harshita Mataji was asking, what do we mean by the pure practice of devotion, Krishna consciousness? Oftentimes, we are stuck in the first and the second. We do some activities for Krishna. But if the third part is missing, then the rasa, that taste, that mellow will not be experienced. The miracles will happen in spiritual life when this third element is there. When you're doing that to please Krishna, that is where all taste comes. So, anukulyena, that means with favorable intention. Okay. So Krishna Balram, they were wrestling with their cowherd friends in the forest of Vrindavan. And that is how Chanur Mushtik, they challenged Krishna Balaram. They were saying, we have heard about you. You wrestle with your friends in forest of Vrindavan. Therefore, we want to challenge you here. But when the friends of Krishna are wrestling with him, it's the perfection of pure devotional service. But when the same Chanur Mushtik and all the wrestlers of Kamsa are fighting with Krishna, that is not bhakti. Why? Because the intent is missing. They were not fighting to please Krishna.
Prabhu, then Hiranyakashipu's intention was to please Krishna only. If we see
But not in the form of Hiranyakashipu. As Jai Vijay, yes, but not as Hiranyakashipu.
But Krishna's intention was to fight. No, Prabhu.
Yeah. So Jai Vijay, yes, Bhakti. But Hiranyakashipu, no, it's not Bhakti.
He has to take the form of Hiranyakashipu.
Yeah, they were cursed, yes.
Then Ravana also is pleasing Krishna only. We resemble this Prabhu this.
Now that Ravana never meant to please Lord Ram. He wanted to kill Lord Ram. He wanted to kidnap Mother Sita. So Ravana was not Bhakti. He was not a Bhakta. He was not even a Shiva Bhakta. We may call as Shiva Bhakta, but by even with this definition, it was not Bhakta.
But
Not
by their because God also want to fight with only pure devotees only. He doesn't want to fight with ordinary souls.
Yeah.
If they are taking the form of they are to glorify, because we got Narasimha through Hiranyakashipu only, and we got Rama through Ravana only, because he could not get that his form without their if they could not perform that activity, Rama and Narasimha we could not get.
So yes, when you are looking at it that way, you are looking from that perspective. But if you have a podcast with Hiranyakashipu on YouTube, and if you ask him that question, what were you thinking while attacking Vishnu? And you bring Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu in your show, and you interview them, and they did not have even a slightest of that intention. They wanted to kill them. They thought them to be ordinary person. First and foremost, Vishnu was not a target of their devotion. Second, there was no cultivation on their part. They were not following the footsteps of previous acharyas. And third, their intention was completely opposite. But yes, if you see in the form of Jai Vijay, and when they were thinking how we can give Virya Rasa to Vishnu, but they themselves did not orchestrate the four Kumaras and when the entire Leela that happened. So then Jai Vijay's mood was of they were pure devotees, they were devotees. But when they appear in the form of Hiranyakashipu, so we know the different connection and the pastime. So, but nowhere in the Shastra it is said that Hiranyakashipu was or the Ravana, they were the great devotees of the Lord. And they established the real standard of bhakti and we should follow them. No, never happened that way. But in 7th canto we see Kama Dveshat Bhayat Snehat. So that verse comes that by any means, by Kama, by lust, by enviousness, Dveshat, by Bhaya, by fear, by Sneh, by affection, Aveshyata Mana, one can invest one mind into Krishna. And Krishna is absolute. By some or other, if you invest your mind into Krishna, you will be delivered. But still, that is not bhakti. Shishupal, out of envy. Kama, the gopis. Bhai, Kansa. Sneha, the Yaduvanshis. But Yaduvanshi and the gopis, it is specifically said to be the devotion. But for Bhai, Kansa and Dvesha, Shishupal, it is not devotional service because that intent was missing. Now, in this, one important thing is there when we understand about Anukulyena. Give me a moment, please. Okay, so these are the primary characteristics for Rup Lakshan. And then remaining are Tatastha Lakshan. What are the remaining part of the verses? Anya Bhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. So the two characteristics are Anya Bhilashita Shunyam. That means pure devotional service is free from Anya Bhilashita, ulterior motives. And the second Tatastha Lakshan is Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. It is not covered by philosophical or fruitive pursuits. Now let us briefly discuss one by one. What do we mean by Anya Bhilashita Shunyam? Now, it is interesting. Srila Rupa Goswami is not saying Anya Bhilashi Shunyam. He is saying Anya Bhilashita Shunyam. That means void of any other desire. So any desire except for the service of the Lord is called a material desire. So if one says that pure devotional service is utterly void of all material desire, that could be too exclusive. And therefore, Rupa Goswami modifies it as Anya Bhilashita. Now, Abhilash means desire. Okay. And Abhilashita means the quality of desire or desireness. Just like there is sweetness. So desire, but the quality of that desire. So therefore, our Acharyas explain, when he is writing Anya Bhilashita, it means, a person will by default, by naturally have some desires for self-preservation. Let us say if someone is suddenly in danger and he or she wants to protect himself, herself. So is that desire, the desire is to protect oneself. So then is it bhakti or not bhakti? So that is included. That means that is accepted. So he's saying Anya Bhilashita, that quality of, there is no material desires, but still that those natural desires of self-preservation, such as desire to survive, to eat, to evacuate. So one can have these desires and still not be out of the realm of pure devotional service, as long as those desires do not become the main motivational force in one's life. Okay. If Rupa Goswami would have written Anya Bhilash Shunyam, that means absolutely no other desire. But he's writing Anya Bhilashita. That quality of desire is no more there, but these basic desires are included. Then the second is Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. So what is Jnana Anavritam? Jnana means philosophical speculation. So if our philosophical interest becomes more prominent than our concentration on bhakti, they will cover our devotional attitude and disqualify us from pure devotional service. So the ultimate end of philosophical speculation must be Krishna. Vasudevam Sarvamiti. The Krishna is a Sarva Karana Karanam. Okay. And the second meaning, and specifically here, philosophical pursuit means philosophy of impersonalism or voidism. And third, we can take it in the practical sense. See, the goal of jnana is moksha. So moksha means I want to end my sufferings in life. So I am doing devotional service in which my primary goal is I want to end my dukkha. In the process, Krishna becomes pleased and happy. I won't mind that. And I may use Krishna for do that. But my primary motivating factor is moksha, liberation. Krishna Seva is at a back seat. And my own happiness in terms of my own liberation is on the forefront. So that is Amrit. It has been covered by Jnana, pursuits of Jnana or their goal. Then second, karma, Jnana, karma, and Avritam. What is meant by karma? We discussed in detail in chapter 1 to 6 unit Bhagavad Gita.
Fruitive activity.
Yes, fruitive activities means I want to be the enjoyer for my own sense gratification. And specifically, there are some ritualistic activities mentioned in the Vedas. So I'm attracted to those ritualistic activities. I want to do all those yagyas. And I want to chant all the Vedic mantras. But satisfaction of Krishna is nowhere in the picture. I have a particular desire which I want to get fulfilled. And ultimately, I want to go to heaven for better sense gratification. And in our day-to-day life means I have my own desires related to my own sense gratification. I'm doing devotional service, but my primary motivation is sense gratification. If I serve Krishna, I will get this facility and that facility, and I want a good son, I want a good wife and a good husband, and therefore I am taking up the process of devotional service. So that may be bhakti, but may not be uttama bhakti. There may be a mishran of karma in it. It follows the first three parameters. Yes, it enters into the school of bhakti. And still, my primary motivation is any of my sense gratification. So that is mishran of karma. However, there are certain ritualistic activities that do not cover devotional service. And sometimes people perform those out of social convention. For example, Lord Chaitanya offered pinda upon his father's demise. So that is not the devotional service has been covered by karma. So there are certain ritualistic activities. It is not that we have, through this definition, all sorts of ritualistic activities are condemned. It's not like that. There are certain ritualistic activities which may cover, there are certain ritualistic activities which may not cover, depends upon the performer. Sometimes our devotees have to perform out of social convention, but they're internally, their goal, primary goal is to please Krishna. Their bhakti is their main objective. Sometimes astrology. For someone, astrology can be a hamper in their devotional service. Sometimes, many times devotees start putting more faith in the power of destiny than in the power of bhakti. And thus, the astrology can impede their surrender to Krishna. And in some other scenarios, astrology can very well serve a particular purpose, which is favorable to service to Krishna. You want to open a temple, you want to open a center, you want to calculate the dates, you want to have some sort of astrological calculation. Favorable, pleasing to Krishna. So, Gyan, Karma, Adi means other things, just such as renunciation, yoga, all the other kinds of process. So, those processes can be utilized, but if they cover the bhakti, if they become the primary motivation or primary aspiration, then one's loving relationship with Krishna, then that means they covered the devotional service. That is not pure devotional service. Okay. So pure devotional service is activity intended to please Krishna without ulterior motive and which is not covered by philosophical or fruitive pursuits. That is pure devotional service. And Srila Rupa Goswami quotes verses to support his definition of pure devotional service, specifically from Narad Pancharatra, Sarvapadhi Vinirmuktam. That verse is there. Okay, so that was the introduction of Nectar of Devotion. Let us quickly why it is not showing on the screen. Let me try again. So yesterday we discussed that this is the objective of the book, and Rupa Goswami is paying obeisances, and then finally is blessing the devotee. That includes the Mangalacharan. After that, Srila Rupa Goswami is describing the structure of this book. Okay. These are the complete structure of the book. And this is what we discussed today. Anya Bhilashita Shunyam Gyan Karmadinavritam Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktiruttama. There are certain primary characteristics, secondary characteristics. You are able to see the cursor or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Very good.
So, Sarup Lakshan, there are three Sarup Lakshan. First is the target is Krishna. It is Anushilanam, that means active engagement, and Anukulyana, favorable intention. Krishna means directly Krishna or connected to Krishna. That means paraphernalia, the board, the expansions, the devotees. Anushilanam, active engagement, some do's and don'ts. That means activities are done by body, mind, and words. And also it follows in the footsteps of acharyas. It follows parampara. Only then it will be in the shelter of internal potency. Otherwise, the activities will be in external potency. And the secondary characteristic, Tathastha, is Anya Bhilashita Shunyam. We discussed the meaning of Ita, Anya Bhilashita, and also it is not covered by Gyan, Karma, Adi. Okay, so we'll discuss chapter 1 in the next. Okay, so we'll stop here. Any questions, comments?
Prabhu, still Brahma Bhuta stage, we have to perform all ritual activities. It's compulsory like that too.
Sorry, ask again. In Brahma Bhuta stage?
Still Brahma Bhuta stage, we have to perform all ritual activities. But after Brahma Bhuta stage, we can leave that activities. I heard from some lecturers.
You can give up all ritualistic activities immediately if you're performing Uttama Bhakti. So this Uttama Bhakti can be performed from the starting of our devotional life. It is not that only at the later stages of life, when we become very advanced, we can perform pure devotional service. From the beginning also, we can practice Uttama Bhakti. I have to first of all follow these three criteria: the Swarupa Lakshan and the Tastha Lakshan. If you're following in the footsteps of pure devotees, we can do that. So it defined when we say about ritualistic activities, there are so much different types of ritualistic activities. It depends upon the context. There are certain activities, ritualistic activities, that can cover up our devotional life, and there are certain which may not hamper devotional life. If our faith is more on rituals that are given in Vedas, and our primary motivation is our own sense gratification or the moksha, then they cover up the Uttama Bhakti. So, whether to give up, how to do that, one needs guidance. One can always consult with one spiritual master and senior Vaishnavas and accordingly do that. One should not artificially follow, and one should not artificially give up. I mean, one should not blindly follow or blindly just give up. Blind following is condemned, as well as blindly giving up is also condemned. So one should know the purpose. Why am I doing? For what thing am I doing? Yeah. And one can one can get full result when they are performed in transcendental knowledge. When they are performed out of ignorance, the result is also then accordingly. Okay, so it is 9:32 in my clock. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. I think our next session is on Monday. So let me officially close the class. Those who want to leave, please feel free to leave. If you have any questions, you can please ask on Monday. You can stay back now and you can ask now also. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu ki jai, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Tirubhav Divas Mahamahotsav ki jai. Yes, Vrindavan Vasi Prabhu.
Prabhuji, thank you for very nice giving us proper understandings. Thank you. Prabhuji, 2 points I wanted to inquire. You said to enter any activity into the realm of bhakti, the primary lakshanas have to be there. But to get in the realm of pure bhakti, it has to be all the primary as well as the both have to be there. Am I right to understand this? Okay, fine. Now, the second point you said that the taste is not coming because the intent is not there. When the intent comes, then all the taste comes. So I feel though we have knowledge that the intent is to please Krishna, but still, I guess I'm mechanical. So how to actually put this intent into like practical implementation? Matlab, I feel because if this would have been there, then I would have been on a altogether different. So how to put this on a practical, this intent part? Because we can still feel the taste is not coming. We are still struggling. And
so how to have that intent? A very interesting question. I can repeat. I asked the same question to my teacher, and I can share what I heard from him, Adi Purush Prabhu. He said, when we take out little time and invest little consciousness. For example, if I am chanting japa, I completed my 16 rounds. As soon as I chanted my last bead of my 16th round, I just keep the bead back and that's it. I'm done for the day. Or if I just take 30 more seconds and in my heart of heart, I offer them to Shri Radha Madhav, Shri Radha Sham Sundar, Radha Radhika, whoever is your worshipable Lord, that Shri Radha Madhav, my today's japa, I am offering it for your pleasure. Please accept it. And that was my yajna for the day. That was for my japa, that instruction of Guru Maharaj for the day. I know it is full of faults, full of distraction. The quality was not up to the mark. But still, despite all of that, this is my offering to you. and I wish to offer this, my rounds of japa at your lotus feet. Please accept this. So that yoga, that means that connection, where does it take place? It takes place in our heart. So similarly, when we start the class, so I always have two options. One, I can chant invocation prayers and I can try to invest my consciousness into it, or I can be mindless and don't chant, don't give any attention to it. But if I am doing it for Krishna, then I invest my consciousness. I know the meaning of the mantras that I'm reciting. I'm meditating upon them, and I'm making a simple prayer that whatever uh, discussion we may have now, they are meant for your pleasure. Please make me an instrument. Or if I'm sitting in a class, in the beginning, there is our invocation prayers. That is actually to fine tune. I mean, if you pay attention, they're so beautiful verses. And if I'm praying to all those personalities, please make me an instrument to that message. So that is how. In those smallest of moment, it happens. When I begin any activity or seva, I take a little time, just 10-15 seconds, and prepare my consciousness and offer them to Krishna. So that's one. Second, it may happen when I am connected, when I am grounded with my own self. What do I mean by that? If I am always running here and there from one post to another post, and I don't have a time for my own self, I'm doing everything mindlessly, then it becomes very difficult. I feel very drained out. That is why some balance is required in life, that you have a quality time for your sleep, you have a quality time for your own health, and you are quality time for your sadhana, you have quality time for relationship. So that balance is required. If I'm always working and running, and there is no quality time for sitting down and worshipping Krishna or reading Shastra or any devotional activity, then that consciousness will not come. And that is why Srila Prabhupada said that Shravan and Kirtan are so important. If one neglects Shravan and Kirtan, but simply mechanically worship the deity, then the same deity, Prabhupada said, will become a galagraha, as if my spiritual master has tied a stone into my neck and I'm drowning in the ocean. But when I spend time in Shravan and Kirtan, then that gradually that consciousness also comes. Third thing that can help, so whatever makes you grounded, whatever makes you feel more connected, do that. If it is prayers, if it is worshipping, if it is Shravan and Kirtan, if it is going to maybe a dham, or if it is serving mother cow, it can be in anything. There are different things for different people. So invest time where you think which nourishes your life where in a very healthy way. So then you are grounded, and then those consciousness also comes. So little sattva is required, no doubt. If it's always rajas and tamas, it's difficult to control the mind and even to think about these matters. So just taking a little time out when you're making cooking bhoga for the Lord. So before igniting the fire, if I chant a little prayer that dear Srimati Radharani, please come and bless. I want to offer bhoga to the Lord. Or you pray to your spiritual master. I am cooking for Krishna. May my cooking be pleasing to Krishna Balaram, and may they accept it. So even starting to say just mechanically, but saying something, making an endeavor. So there's some start, and when you offer it, then. So if we just know the meaning of what we are doing, that helps a lot. If you're second initiated, if we know what we are chanting, the Gayatri mantras, they're so profound. That meditation is there when we are taking the time out 3 times a day to chant our Gayatri. So that is complete meditation on those mantras. That helps us. This is what comes to me right now. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Any other question, reflection, comment, anything? Okay, so then we'll meet on Monday. I suppose next class is on Monday, right? Rukmini Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Tomorrow is Srila Prabhupada Disappearance Day. Tomorrow's no class, and then Saturday, Sunday is there. So we'll meet on Monday, same time. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada's ki jai.